Hello, Amanda Dunas here from the Positive Thinking Clinic. And what I'm going to discuss with you today is about sleep. So what is it exactly that you can do instead of ruminating? Quite often people find themselves in the pattern of excessive worry, overanalysis, and whatever it is, leading to what we call rumination just before sleep. And this takes over and steals your sleep time. So to increase the likeliness of falling asleep earlier and also having a restful rest before you actually fall asleep, it's recommended that you do follow a routine. Find yourself or create a brand new routine. Even on weekends, if you're beginning to find that consistency is a struggle, going to bed and getting up at similar times each day and each day of the week becomes extremely important. If you do have trouble falling asleep, then avoiding that nap, even if it's a 10-minute nap during the day, can often lead to a better success rate at winding down, falling asleep and being tired, because sometimes those power naps really can re-energize you and stop you from actually falling asleep. The use of your bed during daytime, it's not for things like watching TV or talking on the phone or just reading. It might work for other people, but if you're struggling with falling asleep and using time on your bed as worry time, then I'm going to suggest that eliminate all the other activities which don't mean sleep, and it means sitting on the phone, talking to people or reading or listening to a podcast. Don't do that on your bed anymore. Caffeine, chocolates, or if chocolate affects you, nicotine, heavy meals, even exercise too late in the evening before going to sleep, that can affect you. Doesn't affect everybody. So this is only applicable to those people who are struggling to fall asleep. When you are ready to fall asleep, turn off the light and have the room quiet. Have your temperature in your room nice and cool, relatively cool, and try an electric blanket if you're cold, rather than having the heater on in the room and having the entire room hot. If you think about it, when you're having a really good night's sleep, let's say you've been in a hotel room and the temperature is set right, you have a nice, comfortable sleep. You're better off being able to adjust your warmth or your coolness by your blankets and by what you're wearing. Sometimes sleeping masks to go over your eyes can be really helpful, just to keep everything dark, because some people find they peep, see a bit of light, and then it encourages them to wake up. Using earplugs if you're sensitive to noise. Some people who are using, it's suggested not to use screens before sleep time, but if you are, there's the blue light blocking glasses that people have been using. I've heard good feedback about them. I guess it's up to the individual to actually use them, or to decide not to use laptops and computers and televisions and mobile phones just before sleep, or all that time beforehand where they're trying to unwind down to sleep. Give yourself time, an hour maximum to fall asleep if you want to give yourself that. Some people just give themselves 15 minutes, and if they're not asleep, they get up and out. But you can give yourself half an hour. At least give yourself some time to fall asleep. If it doesn't work, determine what's going on. Are you feeling anxious? Are you worried about something that's coming up? Do you need to go to the bathroom? Are you thirsty? Just check in with yourself and see if there's anything that you can recognize or realize. Catastrophizing, something people tend to do before they go to sleep, and their thoughts become cheeky and they then think the worst of almost everything that possibly comes to their mind. Remind yourself that you're there for rest, and instead of worrying that you may not be able to fall asleep, just switch your focus to it's time now to unwind and to fall asleep. Staying awake is not the ideal situation if you're going to spend that time catastrophizing about that moment, which means why aren't I falling asleep? Or to even catastrophize about the next day, tomorrow, what might happen, and what if this happens, what if that happens, and what if this person doesn't do that, etc. So become aware of the catastrophizing that you may do in your mind. If you're calm, but if you're wide awake, get yourself out of bed. You're wide awake. You're not anxious. You're feeling fine. For some reason, you can't sleep and you're not enjoying having a restful moment. Get out of the room. Go read a book for a little short time, or go do a small chore, something that's not exciting, that's not going to keep you awake, and something that's going to actually get you to unwind. And by me even suggesting to do a chore, that's because is that chore an unfinished business that's staying on your head? So if you need to go do something for the next 5 or 10 minutes to finish that and then go back to bed, then do that. As you begin to get tired or a bit sleepy, take that as an opportunity, that window of opportunity to go back into your bed. You can have a light snack if you think that might be helpful, like a piece of apple or a small drink of something. If you are anxious or worrying excessively about something, or overanalyzing and ruminating, you can use some breathing exercises or a quick meditation or mindfulness activity. There's plenty of little apps that people find extremely useful that they listen to just before bed. This can become part of your nighttime ritual, and also focus on body sensations, so that way you can also use it as a grounding technique if your mind is wandering to what's happened during the day or what might be happening tomorrow. Grounding using your 5 senses, or even just notice what you're noticing without judgment. So that way you focus your attention to what's actually going on. Being present hopefully can be unstimulating and boring enough for you to say, okay, I'm getting tired now and I'm going to unwind and fall into a sleep. Give yourself reassurance that worries in the middle of the night, they're just middle of the night thinking. Even little dreams that you may have that tend to wake you up, they're just dreams. You can fall back asleep straight after them if you don't spend too much time trying to analyze what you just had a dream about that woke you. If the rumination doesn't stop, you can try and solve it, write it down, put a plan in place, even to say, I'll attend to this worry tomorrow. So at least you know that if there's something that's unfinished that you're worrying about, well, okay, enough for tonight. Let's take a worry break. Tomorrow I've written it down and I'm going to attend to it. So that way it's like giving yourself permission to not dwell on it anymore. You can just close your eyes and listen to something. Sometimes I try to listen to even something educational, but because it's quiet and settled, I don't make it through it. And I realize that it's finished and I'm already asleep, or I've fallen asleep and it's unfinished. So there's a number of different techniques that you can use. It's a matter of actually saying, I'm going to use these techniques. Breathing. Some people spend 10 minutes just focusing on breathing, just focusing on counting. Whatever it is that may work for you today may not work for you tomorrow. It's a matter of exploring and also giving yourself permission to not always be perfect at sleeping. I don't think I know anyone. Sometimes you hear the perfect stories that, oh, I can fall asleep real easy. But the truth is not everyone can. And every day that we encounter is a different day. So it will affect us differently. We may have a big appointment the following day, and that keeps us a little bit alert the night before, or an exam if you're a school kid or a university student, or some big presentation. So there's many reasons why we don't sleep well, but instead of ruminating, do something different. So at least you can try and break that pattern. So I hope you take what I've just the messages that I've spread out, and add your own formulas so that you can have a better restful night with less rumination. You've been listening to Amanda Dunas from the Positive Thinking Clinic. Happy sleeping.